Hey, Bob.
Hello.
Howdy.
There we go. Hello, everybody.
Now we can.
Ken, it's lovely to see you.
Just thought I'd come say hi, check in, see how things are going.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you, man. It's sure been weird not being able to get together, hasn't it?
Got my shirt on from last year's Kinetic Challenge.
Aw. I have some dreary old thing on. I didn't even get dressed up. Well, that's all right. None of us did. So.
Hey, I'm dressed.
Yeah, you are dressed. It's true, monkey.
No, I went to get dressed a few minutes ago and thought I might as well wear the shirt.
Yeah.
At least I got dressed. Oh, you brought chips for everybody. Great.
I did. I brought chips to share. You'll get to hear me chewing on them. Oh, that'll be lovely.
Bonus.
Yeah, maybe I'll figure out how to mute and unmute. Hi, Bruce.
Hi. You remember me? I was in the Maker Faire a couple of years, 2017 and 18, I think, the last two.
Wow.
Anyway, and I saw you there, but you might not remember me. I have a vehicle that was in there. I have a it wouldn't be a kinetic sculpture race vehicle. I don't really like saltwater, but
yeah.
It's a tandem quadricycle with 2 pedalers and 2 riders.
And they're at different levels. You've got
Different
a low
levels,
person in the front and a high person in the back.
Right.
Yeah. You and I tore up the South Lot that year. That was fun.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, this year the kinetic race is virtual again.
Yeah.
And there's no salt water. So like it's open to you. You might find a way to participate if you want to. It's free to register, and there's a bunch of different challenges. So
I looked at it. I looked at the Facebook page for volunteers. So
we need judges too.
I only discovered it yesterday. Somehow I got dropped from the mailing list, but I decided, what are these guys doing this year? So anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing.
So
since go ahead.
Well, since I haven't looked at the rules, if he doesn't want to go in saltwater, can he just do a water crossing in freshwater, in a river, in a pond?
Absolutely. Could even just be, deep enough to pedal through. As long as it's entertaining. We want it to be entertaining, whatever you do.
Yeah.
So that means sinking is encouraged?
Yeah. Let's see some sinking.
Just be sure to have an underwater camera.
Is the iPhone water resistant to like 10 meters or something? I see videos that are like underwater and then it says shot by iPhone. Like, does anybody know?
You can put it in a bag.
Yeah.
I know mine is down to about, 10 or 12 meters, but I don't want to try it.
Yeah.
Oh. That sounds like a terrible idea. It sounds like a way to give Apple another $800.
But Robert, the lawyers are calling me on my phone. They don't want you to encourage people to take their phone underwater.
Okay. Yeah. I won't encourage any dangerous behavior. The
Oh, dangerous,
I've
just
signed up.
expensive.
Yeah. I've signed up for the trash collection stuff on the Northern Environmental Center webpage, and they have a big long. They've got like 4 links that you have to follow to agree to all of the things, because you're going to be out in the world touching stuff and along the side of roads and possibly in environmentally sensitive areas. They've got all these rules that they want you to follow so that you don't make a mistake and get in trouble, and then by proxy get them in trouble for encouraging your risky behavior.
Yeah.
Have you been able to stay within the rules?
I have been able to stay within the rules so far. I might I'm going to pop over to something for a second. I'm getting a message here. Hang on.
We'll be here.
You can talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I'm signing bills, paying checks right now, so I'm slightly distracted myself.
Well, Bruce, if you want to do a race in non-salt water, Klamath Falls is having their race this year, and we crossed just a lake.
Oh, okay. I mean, I was actually thinking water at all. Well, I don't know. So I have to rethink it. It's mostly I kind of conceived of it as a possibly touring vehicle, not really just a parade vehicle. So I kind of put a lot of components into it, and I don't know if I want to mess with it, have it.
Sure.
But anyway, I really want to help other people's projects. I'd like to maybe join a team, but this year with the virtual race, I'll have to think about it. I only found out about it yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, I got to think some of the rivers down around, Santa Rosa area are probably rather low this time of year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember years ago, I rode a motorcycle through one and had the water all the way up to the air filter. It was a street bike, not a dirt bike.
Lance, in the background, are we seeing a shop with a lot of well-organized shelves?
No, this is my computer room / fun room. I got 3 computers set up. I got multiple monitors set up for game consoles, and
okay.
The very back here is a bunch of DVDs, Blu-rays, and over here are a bunch of Lego toys and stuff like that. And there's Legos up here.
Okay.
No, this is what a real,
a real shop looks like.
Yeah.
Hey, nice. That's great. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't built anything in a few years.
It's the threat of building something.
This year you could even just build a tiny thing and splash it through kiddie pools and things. And as long as the video is entertaining, we'll show it. I've got my friend Joel Clark, who participates at Pedal Fest, also trying to get into the call.
Okay.
So you guys could do some introductions while I try to get him in.
He's Robert.
I'm Lance. I'm in charge of the Klamath Falls Kinetic Challenge race. And I built some sculptures and volunteers in the other races, but mostly involved in the Klamath Falls race.
Okay. Are you located in Klamath Falls?
Yes.
Now? Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm Monkey. I'm actually located in Westport, Washington now, but I've raced for 20 some odd years from Humboldt County. And I've raced in Port Townsend and Corvallis, Sacramento, and Humboldt County. And Ventura. I keep forgetting Ventura.
Wow.
So I have a little bit of experience.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't participated in a few years. And you're a maker.
Yeah. What at the time that they still had it. So I'm sorry to see that discontinued. But I live in Humboldt County now. I moved from Oakland, where I lived about 9 years, and then moved to Humboldt County. And my vehicle isn't really in working order, but it's spring and I'm getting more excited. So,
Welcome, Joel.
Hello.
And my first experience with unusual pedal vehicles was I was a pedicab operator in the town of Sonoma for only one summer. Well, that was pretty fun. And I had an unusual design that it had one rider facing backwards behind the pedaler, and then a trailer with another rider facing forwards. So the two riders faced each other, and it was only 3 feet wide, and it could fit between poles on bike trails. And it was kind of sociable for the two riders. So, well, it would be sociable if they were sitting next to each other, but anyway.
Yeah, as long as you weren't passing gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the ride.
I'm Ken, and I've been involved with the Paddle Fest at Jack London Square in Oakland for several years now.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, how has that been going? I haven't seen anything about it since the first year that Robert and Don were there.
Robert?
It's, of course, taking a break during COVID. It's run by a super successful nonprofit called Bike East Bay. And I would love to get Kinetic Universe to the same level that Bike East Bay conducts themselves, which is part of why I'm working so hard with the board, is to like bring board mentality up. And let's see, have we done it? We've had a amphibious demonstration race there for 4 years, I think now. And it's, now that I'm on a board, I'm like having to deal with liability and risk. I'm frankly dumbfounded that they let us do this. The first time Joel came with his partner Lori, so it's totally like guerrilla style. I've made a boat ramp that clamps onto the edge of the seawall, and the other end of it floats on steel drums. And it's when I was drilling the holes into the seawall, like people are like, "Hey, that's pretty cool," and I'm like, "Oh, please let nobody from the Coastal Commission come and find me drilling holes in the seawall."
Yeah.
And our floats are literally like hippie hops painted orange, or milk jugs painted orange with a rock for an anchor, thrown out in the course. And it's relatively chaotic. There's like 20,000 people that show up because it's a big event, and we're just a tiny part of it. and we're doing the pre-race meeting, and I'm telling people about the courses, and I say, okay, there's an orange marker. We're going to go around the orange marker. And one thing I do responsibly is I check in with the Coast Guard and I file a plan for what our route is. And they're always very concerned, where are you going to be? And I say, we're going to be right along the shore, because these are handmade, easily fractured, easily capsizable vehicles. So we're going to stay right up against the shore. So I'm showing, I'm talking and I'm describing to the racers who've shown up, what the course is.
It's also important that the Coast Guard has 3 cutters stationed further up the estuary.
Yes.
So it's pretty important that they know where you're going to be.
But those cutters are useless. We had one of those pass right by us during that race, and they all just laughed at us, even though our drivetrain had broken apart.
So we get in the water, and Don and I are organizers and racers, and now we're in the water where we can't really do a lot of communicating with the rest of everybody. And I look over my shoulder and I notice that Joel and Lori are taking off straight across the estuary. And I'm like, where are they going? And I realize there is an orange marker, like all the way over there. Like, it's like, oh my golly, poor, it's like, wait, hey.
We followed directions.
Yeah, really well. You guys were going for it. It's like you were completely focused. I see it.
Well, we didn't even make it that far. Actually, we found a guy with a boat who towed us back. That was pretty great.
Now, I don't know if any of you remember, because you're all fairly new, but they did have a demonstration race at Marine World one year, maybe 2 years.
Wow.
I forget, one of the Area 51 machines went down there.
Wow. Okay. Was that at the water ski show area?
I believe
lake?
so.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't go to it, but I saw footage of it, and I'd have to see if I can even find that footage anywhere.
Was that really long time ago, like in San Bruno or in?
Well, that's really long.
Where it's at now.
Okay.
It wasn't Redwood City, but it was in Vallejo. Yeah, I'll have to try to remember what year that was. But I think they did it 2 years. I think Melvin might have even been there. Anyway, I just figured I'd throw that out.
Yeah.
The big difference of, with the public base that the Bay Area has, it's easy to get 20,000 people in Jack London Square.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to get 20,000 people in the Arcata Plaza.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the advantages that Pedal Fest has. And Bob and Don, to your credit, I think that was a good idea to take an existing event that's already about a similar thing, and then you just kind of tack on to the end of it. So, everything's already handled, parking, police, insurance, vendors, all that stuff. So then you just kind of show up with the ramp and, hey, here we go.
And they're like, oh, you guys are great. We love having you here. Okay.
You got 4 arms, Bob.
Yeah. And those 2 are the better 2.
Who's got the better legs?
I do. I don't know. It depends what you like.
We're veering a little bit off the race course here.
Yeah, well, what was the subject anyway?
Well, actually, that came up at the Congress when we were watching it last night, was one of the things that the race doesn't have anymore is sexy. It's not sexy. You look at the pictures of what was it
like, especially 1970
in the 70s, 78,
Women had like hot pants.
all the ladies are in their dolphin shorts, and everybody had ditched their wives and had girlfriends, and it was like, it was a crazy time.
Now it's the guys wearing the skin tight.
Yeah. We're trying to bring sexy back. We wear skin tight.
Yeah, but we need young people.
But we're old and goofy. Yeah, we need young people. We need Joel and Lori to bring their sexy you guys bring your sexy and bring your sexy friends.
Oh man, I'm older than you think.
So you're saying I should base my vehicle on an inflatable hot tub and invite a bunch of young women to race with me?
That would work. That would work.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The guy who built Chester the horse with the stripper pole on the back of it, like what a genius. Like he just drives around, he just sits there, and people come and he's got fire, and it's a very body time.
Well, that's not the 70s anymore.
That's true. We have to be careful. We have to be respectful.
It's
but
a family event.
People still like, yeah, it is a family event, but it is also adults having fun. It's not necessarily children having fun. It's adults having fun. So children desire to grow older. So there's a balance there, I think, of being, of showing responsibility as well as showing fun. And like most of the time we nail it. Occasionally it's a little, it's a little too much, but
no,
just have Coors sponsor it again.
Go ahead.
We talked a little bit last night about corporate sponsorships. We didn't really specifically say, during the Coors years, but man, that was, as I read some of what went on, it's like, oh my golly, yes, you can't like promote alcohol culture that much.
Why not?
It's just, it's too dangerous. It's like, no, people are not good with it.
It was a different time. You could do it then.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank goodness we all move forward and grow in understanding and comprehension.
Well, and then we got Calistoga.
Yeah.
Bottled beer to bottled water.
No, I was going to say the Port Townsend race, it's very much a family event during the race. But, there's that, the party on the first night that's adults only, definitely. And it used to be that way also with the Eureka race. There were certain parts of things that were definitely adults. There used to be gin fizz off before the start of the race. and the camp at Crab Park was pretty much adults only. You didn't have kids out there.
Yeah, I might support something like that again in the future. It's like, this is not kids camp, you guys. If you have kids, leave them back at the Airbnb or the VRBO or the Verbo. It's
the rutabaga contest. That's not usually kid friendly.
Yeah. Never been. I should go. We do have plenty of things for kids. So, yeah.
But the adults, because they're usually the ones building and participating. Most of the kids, after they've raced a day of the race, they just want to go home and go to sleep.
I think most adults too.
Well, yeah. Corvallis, they have everybody camps out, and that's very much a family event, except you have specific campsites that are not quite child friendly. But it's very much a family event in Corvallis.
Yeah, Corvallis is extremely. I really enjoyed the vibe at Corvallis, both Corvallis and Port Townsend. I really like the vibes in those communities and the races there. It's very sweet.
Now, having not been to Klamath, I don't know, what their situation is.
Well, we all camp out at KOA, so we're all together.
So there's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So I took a look at that KOA. It doesn't seem like it's very big. How does everybody fit there?
Well, we don't usually have a lot of racers. I think our biggest race ever was like 17 teams.
Oh,
we usually average around 10. But since nobody else is having a race this year, we might have a large crew this year.
You might.
Well, it must be pretty big because I know the one in Corvallis is the fairgrounds, and it's usually packed with out-of-towners, and that doesn't include the locals.
Right.
But that's where everybody goes and hangs out. But there's also the entire Da Vinci Days festival that is occurring at the same time during the day. Right. So there's lots of stuff for kids to do.
Again, another great crossover event. You got the Da Vinci Days along with the kinetics. It is a good way to build, and then you get more people all showing up, and more spectators and more participation. It's a good strategy.
Yeah, we do our race the same weekend as the Klamath Car Show, and they have a big show and shine out at Moore Park, which is where we have our sand pit. And so they usually announce over their loudspeakers that we're about to start our sand pit. So we all the women and children who got tired of looking at cars come up to watch us.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that. Wow. Now you guys have a sand pit and a mud pit.
Yes. Well, the sand pit is a volleyball court.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Still sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We usually bring in a truckload of sand, so we have a big mound in the middle, then we let the kids kind of flatten it out a little bit and tear it all up, and don't make it too easy for the team. You make the kids get in there and make it a mess.
And then you've done a public service because you've donated sand to the volleyball court.
Right.
Nice. That's good. Way to be a community member.
So speaking of public service, Bob, I saw that you built a trash trailer.
Yep.
Does that go along with your theme?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So I got a whole fleet of trash trailers, but I never thought to make them cow themed. So this is going to be interesting.
Are there recyclable specific areas?
Oh, that to take the trailers to?
Oh no, I mean in the trailer, is there like segregated areas for recyclables, not just all trash?
I used to do that, but what I found is that if I'm mobile and I'm picking up trash with my trash picker and just tossing it in the back, it was too hard to nail the smaller containers, with that to sort it. And then when I bring it to events, I would stop and then let people, throw their own empties and stuff in there. But they would always get confused and go, wait, which one is which? And then they would mix up the streams, and then I'd have to sort it anyway. So I just said, to hell with it. And then I just now throw everything in one giant bin and sort it at the end.
Now, see, that might be a good thing. I used to do security with Area 51, and we did a lot of concerts in Humboldt County and Trinity County. And we had a recycology group, and we also had our security group. It would be nice to have some sort of human-powered machine that would go around and collect people's recyclables, especially in a closed event like that. Not just out in the public.
Right. Yeah, I've built and used machines that are specifically purposed for picking up trash. But the problem I always had is then you have to like provide the conveyance to people to use them. Like if you're going to do this for an event, and then you have to be there to repair everything. If you just use a trailer, I found that's a lot better, because then you just tell your volunteers, just bring your own bike. And then they do. And then all you have to do is just hook up to their axle. And the trailer's never going to break. It's just a trailer. There's no mechanical thing that could really go wrong except a flat tire.
So this is our, if you remember our video from last year, this is the submarine that took us on our adventure last year. So there's a trash collection, and behind the trash is a spot for recyclables. And then
that's got to require some good eye-hand coordination.
I do pretend to be an athlete.
Have you mastered it yet, Bob? The old pick and toss into the back?
Do I what?
Have you mastered the pick and toss while still moving at speed?
No, this is like the best take right here. This little jam right there. And then we're not showing how long it took me to actually make the trash let go and then restow the restow the picker. There's a tube right there that I can store the picker in while I'm going to the next piece of trash. A lot of times there's never any time to put it away. There's just so much trash.
So you have like a
tube
attached to your. You have a tube attached to your handlebars?
No, I took a ABS pipe and cut a big slit down the side of it, and then made a fork in the top of it, and it's lashed to the back of the bike on the on the rear egg crate that's back there. So it's all behind me. I just reach it. It's right where my hand would go, and I can just grab it. And then plastic bottles are the easiest because they're right there and they're super light. And as I go by, and they're usually not full of water or soda, are they? They're usually
it's not.
Like, what the hell, people? Oh my gosh. People are so foul.
It's like the piss bottle bomber from Car Wash.
It is. Yeah.
And then there's the flat ones, the flat cans that have been run over a couple of times by cars. You can never get those.
If I can get them, I actually pull up next to them. I step on one side of it, and then the other side pops up, and then I can grab it. So I do stop I do have to stop for those.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've picked up 3 trash bags so far of trash. It's like, and now on my bike rides, as I go riding around, it's like I'm not looking at trash all the time anymore. I had no idea how negatively that was impacting me. And now I don't, and now there's not trash on some of the places where I ride.
Yep.
Now, that brings up something that I've always talked about with the race, and maybe some of the other racers have experienced it. In the Humboldt County race, after 3 days of racing and waving at everybody for 3 days, that after the race, you find yourself for weeks waving at everybody. Just anybody on the side of the road.
Yeah, their hand comes up and you're like, yeah, hi.
You have no idea who that person is, but you're still waving at them.
Yeah.
You know, those habits that we get into when we're doing the race, whether it's in the construction of or the participating of.
My brother worked at Disneyland and he took me on a back roads tour of the area. And we're walking around in the back end part, and he hits me in the ribs like, hey, watch this. And there's just some random person like walking towards us, and he goes, and this person goes, and he said, and she's like, oh, and she puts her arm down. He says, she's a Mickey Mouse. Gets her every time. So it's absolutely true. You just get in the habit of like, yeah, hi. And she's doing the big Mickey. And then she's like, oh, wait, I'm not in costume. I wore my tie-dye Hobart Brown t-shirt today out in the world. And I was amazed at how happy it made everybody. Like there were some you're just going grocery shopping and the gas station and stuff, and people are like cranky and you like make eye contact and like, why are you looking at me? And like instead everybody's like, yay, no, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like I accidentally spilled a chunk of cheese underneath somebody's shopping cart. And I honestly thought it had fallen out of his cart as he was like doing his stuff. And so as he started getting ready to go, I pointed down, I said, oh, he says, and he looks, he's like, what did I do? And I'm like, well, I don't want you to miss your cheese. And he's like, that's not my cheese. And then he looks at me again. And he says, I'll pick it up. And I said, am I the one who threw that on the ground while I was getting my butter? He says, I don't know, but you're wearing that lovely tie-dye shirt. I can tell you're a good guy. So I'm just going to, he's just like, I'm like, wow, I'm going to remember that. I'm going to remember to wear this tie-dye shirt when I'm a little bit cranky myself. And that way, people will have a better experience when they're around.
I don't think I've seen this shirt. Do you have it on? Oh, you do.
Yeah.
It's in the laundry.
Okay. Well, it'll be a little bit dirty.
Well, Don was doing laundry, so it might be clean by now.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
So as you can see, it's extremely jolly, and it's got Hobart on the backside of it.
I don't think I've seen that one.
The front of it is, it's just this nice, gorgeous yellow burst.
Yeah.
Now, if I wore the one that I have that has Hobart on it, it wouldn't make people smile.
No, is it the Hobart Hates Me shirt?
Yes, that one. It's just too small of an inside joke.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is a good joke.
Yeah. Well, and that was the only one that was actually bought in the gallery.
Wow. And Hobart doesn't hate you.
No, I know.
Yeah.
He wanted to send me to Poland to help him organize the race when they were having it there.
Wow. I fantasize about doing an amphibious race during the Biennale in Venice. I just think that would be that. I mean, it's one of those dreams where it's so big that I just get overwhelmed immediately just thinking about it. Like, how would a human being even go about creating that? And I know people do. I know that people get ideas like this and achieve them.
The art would have to be over the top.
Oh yeah, like Bosch parade level over the top, but then also able to navigate the streets,
The waterways and the streets.
and
Yeah.
the waterways. Yeah,
That would be an interesting thing to see.
boy, put us on the map. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You got to get your machine on an airplane somehow.
Oh no, you'd build it there. You wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't try, yeah, there's no reason to try to ship anything. I don't think they have everything you need. It's a developed nation.
Yeah, that's true.
And plenty of metal workers and artists, and it's
Yeah.
like I always thought of Holland, with all the bicycles and everything up there. They ought to have something like that.
Yeah.
You mean you'd have to spend your whole summer in Venice building your vehicle? Shucks.
You
Man.
begin to see why this is a genius idea.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Wow.
Just,
And
just,
you
just
know
take a
there's-
just take a box of big old sprockets and chains and stuff that is hard to get.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, pipe and weld material. They got that.
Yeah.
There's a number of in all those countries. There's a whole class of people that fix things and repair things and build things. It isn't like the disposable mindset that the Americans have.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
You look really
So-
intense, Bob. Like you're thinking about actually doing it.
That's what I'm saying. It's grabbed me. This idea has grabbed me, and I.
That
It's
would be
hard- You're
You're
marvelous
wondering
to-
if it's your fate.
Yeah.
to have sort of a grassroots coming together from many third world countries.
Uh,
Maybe
Exactly.
the BNLE is not your maybe there's an international environmental convention that could serve as the locus for many people coming from different countries and putting on a kinetic parade and race and concert.
Well, like places like Manila that are worried about sea level rise, you could have a sea level challenge, and you do it all human power and amphibious, and you have a benefit concert, and you just make it that everybody, like you say, in that country participates or has the opportunity to participate. It's not us coming in and saying, look how amazing we are as engineers. It's and then you get their story on the screens globally.
So through the swamp, around the shanty town, and then out
Yeah.
into the water and around the Chinese island and back.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah.
Get it all in there.
Yeah. Have you been following any of the AC-75 races out there in New Zealand?
No, I haven't. They were doing everything so you could view it online, and now they went back to sports channels, and I don't get a sports channel, so I sort of let it go.
It wasn't even really online. They would show you the most boring parts of the race, and then encourage you to subscribe and pay money to see the editing was so bizarre on some of those sports channels. But there were a couple of guys down there, just regular folk like you and me, who are doing their own videos and their own informational stuff, and it was fascinating. This one guy, Planet Sail is the name of his channel, and super engaging. Very, not a very attractive human, but I mean, he's average looking, like he's not a personality movie star style, but he's like engaging and interested. Is the fact that he's like so into it that you're like, yeah, I want to know more. And he's getting interviews with the pilots and the trim guys, the helmsmen, and like you get a real sense of that part of the world through his ability to tell the story. So I know there's ways to do something that doesn't require massive infrastructure. You just open it up and you get people to come in and tell the story of the shanty town and the people riding their crazy vehicles. The risk is making it a fetish event. It's gotta be like genuine. So that's a little bit of a struggle right there, but I think I will at some point, if I live long enough. I think that's my destiny, is to do that kind of thing.
And that's really how the kinetic race started. Between the artist in Ferndale, it was just your average, blue collar worker that decided to get a couple of friends together and make something. And it turned into a 3-day party.
Right. Yeah. Where to participate at the top level requires a lot of privilege. Like I drew a line around our property, and the amount of space we're using a quarter of an acre, and yeah. It's like and we're bare bones. We have a couple of hand grinders and a cheap welder and carport tents that are $100 to $102 each, and that's where we do all of our work and all of our building. But it's like you do have to have space, and you do have to have free time, and you do have to have knowledge. And
yeah, you really have to change your lifestyle to kind of accommodate this.
Yeah. And there are ways to celebrate the same kind of experimentation and taking risks and failing that have a lower bar of entry. Dawn, my partner, is a middle school teacher. She teaches a maker class, and they're doing Rube Goldberg machines.
Oh,
And fun. And so most of the kids are black squares on her Zoom call. But there's a couple of kids, these are 12-year-olds. There's a couple of kids who are actually successfully making Rube Goldberg machines at their homes out of stuff just lying around. One little boy is like, his entire bedroom has turned into a Rube Goldberg machine. And she said today, oh my gosh, he says, can I show you guys? Can I share this? And she's like, yeah, okay, yeah, share. And he starts like showing the time-lapse videos that he's been making and showing all the things. And it's like, oh my gosh. And she's like, this little boy just saved my life. I am so tired of black squares. And here's this kid who's like, I'm so into this. And like, so there are ways to do this, even at 12 years old, to try and build, and, it doesn't work. And then it works.
Well, yeah, and then once they learn, the different processes of building things, in a larger scale, it really opens up a whole new world.
Yeah.
For the first 10 years of the race that I was involved, I didn't know how to weld or braze. Everything was brazed back then, or stick welded. They didn't have these wire feed welders.
Right.
But nobody let me. And then, now I do all the brazing and welding. I helped so many years of building stuff that I paid attention and learned and started doing it on my own. But, kids just don't have the money to invest in that kind of equipment.
No.
Right.
But like sketching and thinking three-dimensionally and moving things around in your brain and having the willingness to try something and have it not work and like figure out why didn't that work and try it again and try again until it does work. That doesn't require hardly any materials or special equipment at all.
No, it doesn't.
And that's super valuable.
It's problem solving.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I am teaching a trophy making class, and one of the things I've promised the people who sign up, if anybody signs up, is knowledge of like attaching things. And the one place I don't have any experience in is brazing. And I feel like brazing is a natural option for attaching stuff together, especially for a trophy. Now I was looking a little bit, and there's like all these different kinds of rods for whether or not, whatever you're using to bond. But I'm pretty sure that's like if you want it to survive like an engineering test. Like, are there like bare bones brazing just to stick stuff together options?
Yeah, there is. I mean, just low fuming bronze bare rod.
Okay.
I have a special setup myself. But yeah, just plain low fuming bronze. You can get
Okay.
the rod that's got the flux on it, or you can get, just borax. Plain old borax. Warm the rod up and dip it in the borax, and the borax is the flux. The main thing is just not getting it too hot so that you don't boil off the zinc.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
It's like the next step above soldering.
Got it. That's what I'm looking for, is the next step above soldering. Okay. So before April 10th, I'm going to go get myself some of that and play with it a little bit so that I can at least I won't pretend to be an expert, but I will say, here's an option.
Yeah. I mean, silver is nice for some things, but for most of the stuff we do, just plain low fuming bronze. It
Awesome.
comes in tubes. I got a tube right here of this one's actually silicon bronze. But that's as far as changing the color of the metals is when you start changing the types of rods. Low fuming bronze will be more yellow. The silicon bronze, actually the low fuming bronze will be more red. The silicon bronze will be more yellow. Silver, of course, will be more silver. And there's different grades of silver. And it doesn't take as much heat. So if you're building a trophy that has different thicknesses and different materials, the silver might be the best way to go.
Cool.
Feel free to message me and ask me about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. If I get anybody who's interested, I'll probably try to get you on the call too, if you don't mind. Yeah. Neat. It's they want me to make it a steampunk focus. And I said to the director, really? Steampunk? Is that back again?
Yeah, it's back already.
It's like, yeah. I wrote to her, I thought that ship sailed, and she says it keeps coming back to port.
I was on the bike trail last weekend, and then I went past a bunch of teenagers, and they were all dressed up in steampunk. I don't know what they were doing. But I was like, I guess they're still doing it. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you look back into bicycle building, even all the earlier bicycles were all raised. They didn't weld those.
Yeah.
They were sweat raised.
Yep. And the joints are gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it was art.
Yeah. My joints are not gorgeous.
Functional.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing videos of Don learning how to weld.
Yeah. I wanted to like get really good at welding, and then I think it was Peter's friend Elliot Ness
Yeah.
who said, "You're going to take this into salt water. It's going to fall apart. Then you re-weld it. Don't worry about it. Just make it work." It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's move on. Yeah.
Now, speaking of that story, I remember one year in Crab Park that now my brain just went dead. Team Rex from Corvallis. They had actually broken their frame by the time they got to Crab Park. And we essentially had to build a new section of frame. And I happen to have the welder. But it's because the moisture, the salt water gets into the tubes and they rust from the inside out.
Yep.
And you don't see it until it breaks.
Yeah. And then there's really nothing left to weld because it's all it's all
just dust.
Yeah. Well, I've drilled some holes in the low spots of our frame so that the water can drain back out again. But I don't know, at some point.
People have tried different things. They've tried filling it with expanding foam. But that just holds the moisture in.
Oh, yeah.
The main thing is after you race in salt water after the race, you have to wash your machine. or take it for a different freshwater.
Yeah, we have a freshwater lake nearby, and after the season, we go and pedal it around in the freshwater lake, just to get as much salt water out as we can. I take the wheels apart because there's always salt water in the rims.
Yeah,
in the rims, in the bearings, everything.
Yeah.
And nowadays,
Bruce is all, yeah, dear, you guys are really selling this saltwater thing.
Come on in, the water's fine.
Yeah.
I have that problem right now with my mountain bike. I've lived on the beach for 5 years, and I've had the bike for probably 30, and it's gotten really rusty in just the last 5 years. And this doesn't even go into the water. But a lot of the bike parts people get from China, the spokes are not stainless. They're not galvanized heavy enough. They freeze, they rust themselves to the nipples, so you can't straighten the wheels anymore without breaking something. I'm gonna have to rebuild 2 wheels at like $1 a piece for spokes.
Yeah.
And then repaint my whole frame.
I think I may have to leave for dinner at my sister's house here.
Well, it is 8 o'clock, and we usually go for 1 hour. So
only 1 hour. Okay.
Yeah. So lovely. I'm really glad to see some new faces tonight, and I want to continue that. So I'm wondering, like, for format purposes, like, should we maybe alternate 5 and 7? Like 1 week is 5 p.m. and the next week is 7 p.m. What do you guys? The room
6
here. What do you
actually
feel?
works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to split the difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe people like a habit that I don't know.
People do like a habit. Yeah.
6 might work better for me.
The 6
than
might be
7.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
People that are working, getting home at 5 and maybe get dinner started.
Yeah. And you can totally drop in and out. There's no reason to be here at 6 o'clock. So
Yeah.
But the conversation is just so interesting. You don't want to miss anything.
I know. I wouldn't want to.
aw, thanks, Bruce. And welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you. All right.
All right,
I'll
bye.
see you
Have a
next
good
week.
dinner. Yep.
All right.
Bruce.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
So I have a flux core welder, just a cheapo Harbor Freight welder for cost about $100.
The green one or the black one?
It's the black one.
Okay.
It's a pretty cheapo one. And my welds are horribly ugly, but I grind them and then paint them, so it makes it better.
And that's what Dawn started with, was
Yeah.
that flux core welder. And what did she think when she got the gas feed?
We like the welds from the gas feed, but
They don't have penetration.
the gas nozzle is large enough that it makes it much harder for her to see, what's actually happening.
Oh, okay.
So
Have you seen the
so-
glass nozzles where you can see through them?
No, I haven't seen those.
Yeah, I saw those online. Those are pretty interesting. I've never used one. But
I'm
my
gonna
experience
get one
with
for
the
her.
my experience with the gas though is it doesn't really do well on thin-walled pipe. It tends to just blow right through it. Where the flux core
thin are you
does a
welding?
lot better for that.
He's welding that 035 chromoly. His vehicle
geez.
weighs his whole vehicle weighs like 70 pounds.
No, it's like 250 now. It's bad.
When I build most of my machines, I use the wire feed primarily just to tack things, and then I go through and I braze everything. It takes longer, but it makes a nice joint,
Huh.
and it doesn't get the
Not a bad
metal
idea.
spot.
Wow. I like that wow. Yeah, I'm writing that down. Also, what that does is because it doesn't make the metal so hot, it doesn't introduce the stresses, the deformity stresses, the deformation
Yeah.
stresses. Yeah.
And depending on what kind of things you're welding, when you start dealing with gears and adding gears to things, that can be a serious problem when you get too hot.
Yeah.
Heat treated gears
Yeah.
and bearing races. A lot of people forget to take the bearing races out before they start welding stuff.
Oh my gosh. So you guys, that ties into something that NASA just figured out, why the reaction wheels on satellites fail. It's because of arcing. They have the bearings in there, and then there's just static forces that build up on the spacecraft, and these little micro high volt, low amp arcs, and they make little holes in the bearings and the races, and
Wow.
and then it degrades the performance of the reaction wheels. So as NASA has switched over to ceramic bearings, they're not having this problem anymore. The reaction wheels are lasting much longer. So even in space,
That's always a thing when you're working on vehicles, is to put the ground as close to the welding source as possible so that you're not running current through the bearings.
Yeah.
unless you're Don, then you just run it through the bearings anyway.
Yeah,
It's like, it's just a kinetic vehicle.
I'll fix it later.
you got to replace the bearings every year anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and sealed bearings aren't sealed.
No. The water just comes dripping out.
Are there marine bearings that are sealed? I mean, is there a class of bearing that is more sealed?
No,
Okay.
the seal is just to keep contaminants out, but it's not watertight.
Yeah, it's more of a dust seal.
Yeah. And even dust gets in there.
That's true. Every time I get like a Burning Man bike, it's just how does it get in there? It gets in between the threads of screws. I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, the powdered dust on the playa is just like really fine.
Yeah.
It gets into everything.
Yeah. Just got to throw all the bearings out. Everything's bad.
But part of the problem with that is Chinese bearings are not as good.
Yeah.
The quality of the metal is not as good. So it doesn't take much to get in there.
Right.
All right. It's been fun.
It's been
Great to
fun.
listen to.
It's been nice to talk to everybody and listen to all the stories. Thank you, everybody.
And maybe next week
Will
I'll
you
bring my,
accomplish anything?
maybe next week I'll bring my laptop into my garage so you can see my mess there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to accomplish anything, Monkey, you got to bring it up. My job is not to accomplish anything here.
Oh,
My job
thought
is,
as
At
being
least you're honest.
the host, you were going to have like a starting subject.
Like a
This
writing
is
prompt.
yeah, like a writing. We could do that, but this is more like office hours where, if there's something on your mind, show up and either I might have an answer or somebody from the community might have an answer.
I have a
I am on the
question for you,
inside.
Bob.
Yeah, go ahead.
What does 3 feet of air mean?
It's from a movie. It's
Okay. I'll have to look it up then.
so the movie is one of Dawn's favorite movies. It's Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh,
And-
okay. I saw that so long ago.
Yeah, she knows pretty much every line in it, and
Uh-huh.
and can recite them at appropriate moments.
Mhm.
Make yourself a dang quesadilla. It's like always it just drops in, and at one point, he's riding his friend's bike over a jump, and it's like, oh, you got like 3 feet of air. And he doesn't, but it's like it's funny to us. The other thing is that 3 cubic feet of air is about how much flotation it requires to keep a human being out of the water.
I had a
So-
feeling that's what it was gonna, like something like that. So the movie one
So-
was a surprise. That's not the answer I expected.
The flotation thing's a bit of a misnomer, because that's enough to keep a human being afloat, not above water, though.
Oh,
You know,
I see.
Yeah, it is.
people. Well, no, people use calculations on square footage of cubic footage of flotation, especially styrofoam. But that is to keep it positive buoyant, not to keep the body or the machine out of the water.
Well, I only weigh 175 pounds, so 190 pounds of buoyancy, 3 cubic feet of actual like space under the water would
Yeah.
keep me, that far
Exactly. Yeah.
above the water. Yeah.
let's bring a straw.
Well,
Yeah.
when you look at the size of like a rowing skull, an 8-person rowing skull, you got 8 people in that thing, and it's tiny.
Yeah. And it's got 4 inches before of gunnel above the water line,
Yeah.
but it's engineered tight.
Yeah.
Like our current rig is engineered a little too tight. We need a little more flotation up in the front.
And I know that question was came up last week or the week before about how much flotation a machine needs, whether it's inflatable pontoons or styrofoam.
It
You know,
needs enough to stay above the water.
Well, a cubic foot of water weighs about 60 pounds. So you can use that rough calculation.
Yeah, but how much do you like a boat for humans? You usually go like 3 times over, whatever the actual load is going to be. So that if you're trying to carry around 3 people, you're going to build for a displacement of like 2,000 pounds of displacement. But that's a lot to carry around on a kinetic vehicle. So it's like where do you go? And I try to aim for like 1.2 ish, but I don't try to go for a lot of flotation.
Yeah, but you brought the weight down a lot on our back end, and you didn't do that for the front end.
That's true.
So if you kept it hollow in the front end, we could get that back.
Yeah.
Just haven't done it yet. It's on the to-do list.
And if you're using inflatables, you're going to have the air.
And now then he wants to cook dinner, so I'd set up an area in the driveway.
Well, this is getting too tactical for me. I'm gonna go make myself a dang quesadilla. Good to see everyone. Take it easy.
Well, I'm guessing that's probably going to be about it.
Yep, I'm heading out too.
Yeah, looks like
See you
Robert left us, and
Oh,
I'm
you
going
did?
to leave
Okay.
too.
See ya.
Till next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody. That was a good meeting, everybody.
Everybody left, Bob.
Well, it is 8:12.
Yeah.
Yep. Ugh. All right. Well, we'll see you again next week, Monkey.
Yeah. If you have any questions about the welding stuff, don't hesitate to ask. And I'll try to explain it best I can.